This is Tony Harvin, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Tony Harvin. I greet everybody upon this afternoon as we're here talking about some news stories and whatnot, and whatever other news stories you may have. We could talk about that. If you have any other news stories that we could talk about, feel free to put it in the chat room. I greet everybody upon this afternoon. Y'all know my disclaimer. I'm not a pastor, preacher. I don't hold any type of office in the church. So please do not lay claims of those titles on me. We're not here to violate any type of community guidelines, any type of copyright infringement, or any type of privacy guidelines at all. Shout out to everybody that's going to join us live now, in the middle, and those who are going to catch it when it uploads to YouTube. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day so far in general. What's up to Christopher Span? Shout out to you. What's up to Miss T? Shout out to you. What's up to Corey Finney? Shout out to you. What's up to Jan? Shout out to you. What's up to William Barlow? Shout out to y'all and everybody else who's going to chime in and whatnot. If you watch the news, if you on social media, certain things are viral. Even if you're not on social media like that, certain stories just pop up out of nowhere and whatnot. Whether if I check my Facebook out for 1 second or 100 seconds, certain stories just pop up on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or whatever. What up to Paris? Shout out to you. BZ, Digital Masterpiece. Hope all is well. And I'm pretty sure a lot of us been in situations. A lot of the fellas, a lot of women out here, you might have been in some situations with the mother of your kids, with the father of your kids. I don't care if you're in wholeness or not. You've been through situations like that. Cut it out. Arguments over the phone with the other parent and whatnot. You've been through situations, most likely. You understand? It has happened, even to me. You understand? Even to me. Police had to get involved at one point. In fact, a lot of points. Age 19, I'm in New Jersey. Going through a situation with a female at the train station. I'm 19 years old. You know what I mean? Police had to get involved and whatnot. Told us to part ways. You understand? Man, those were some funny times, I tell you, boy. I tell you. So the story is what the individual got arrested for, Mr. Ray J. I mean, he was in his house, whatnot. The mother of his kids came in, I guess, to get the kids drunk. To my understanding, he had a firearm. Is that the brightest idea? To have a firearm in your hand in a situation like that? Despite whether it's your house or not, you know how it is when the police get involved and you're dealing with a woman. There was a Caucasian police officer at Bayonne, New Jersey. I was going through a situation, another scenario, with a woman. He said, listen, the woman already won halfway. Now, this is from a Caucasian officer. He must have been through some stuff. So it don't matter your race or anything. It's just like that. Simple as that. You know what I mean? You don't even have to touch a woman. And she could say, listen, he hit me. And the police will believe them. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure some of y'all seen the movie A Thin Line Between Love and Hate. Well, stuff like that does happen in real life. When a woman can beat herself, put bruises on herself, and blame it on a man. You know what I mean? And guess what? Put it on social media, and almost the whole world believe it and feel sorry for her. Despite how good of a man he is, how intelligent, how much education he has, how much he got going for himself in a good way, it could be lies and people still believe it. You know what I mean? All right, let's go to the chat room. Span, All right, Spence says Ray J don't do it. Holding a firearm in his hand and then threatening a man. There's certain things you gotta be clever to do and not to do, especially if a camera is on you. We understand it's your house. You know what I mean? But people is gonna look at you as the bad guy, right? If you're involved in a situation and you holding a gun, you may have a license for it or anything like that, but you can misuse that firearm or whatever the case may be. You know? Betty Jackson says, Brother Harvin, I pray you had a wonderful, I'm just going to say yesterday. He says, I enjoy your YouTube videos. You have a lot of wisdom. Appreciate that. God bless you and your family. Thank you for tuning in. We had some good conversation yesterday about Thanksgiving and what we eat. I asked the people, do they celebrate Thanksgiving? Do you? All right, Corey Finney says, I think Ray J kind of scared of his baby mom. Why you say that? You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure a lot of men out here, you know, whether you come on here or not, we have situations with baby mothers. And we could be good dudes and stuff like that. And who knows? Ray J may be a good guy as far as like being a good father. I mean, he says his kids would sleep, whatever the case may be. Listen, why would you allow her in? Why would you let her in if that's the case? You know what I mean? If y'all know you're going to have issues and stuff like that, I don't care if it was a family gathering. If I don't get along with the mother of my kids, I'm not having no family gatherings. I'm not doing that. You understand? I'm not doing that. The only thing I'll probably be okay with is a graduation. That's it. You understand? The false prophets. False prophets thought they had something. False prophets went to one of my kids' mothers' Instagram. You know what I mean? And my oldest son had a graduation picture up. You understand? And it was him and the mother and the mother of my kids and stuff like that. They say, Tony Harvin, you're a deadbeat. You wasn't there. What an idiot. Stupid, I was. I just ain't take no pictures. You understand? What an idiot. It was at the Bojangles Coliseum in Charlotte, North Carolina. Stupid. So know your details. Know the facts before you say something. You understand? Know the facts. Know the facts, false prophet. Stupid. You understand? I didn't say anything. I said, let them roll with that. Because I know I was in the background. Listen, I took the picture, idiot. Stupid. Stupid. I took the picture. False prophet. You know what I mean? So some people, you got to know the details. Even if it's on, if we see the video with Ray J and his baby mother, whatever the case may be, and stuff like that. Do we know the full details 100%? No. Just like the false prophet. You know what I mean? That's sad that false prophet got to go to, folks' Facebook or Instagram and stuff like that. Know the facts before you say something. You know what I mean? Because you might be lying. In which they did. They lied a whole lot and stuff like that and things of that nature. I just let it rock out. So when the false prophets make their videos and put up whatever AIs and stuff like that, you know what I mean? I let it rock out. Let them keep lying about certain things or don't know certain details and whatnot. You know what I mean? And then later on they feel stupid. You understand? I find it funny. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure they're watching right now. Idiots. You understand? All right? Betty Jackson says they both have bad tempers. And you know what? Things like that can happen between two people. If you know you don't get along, you know what I mean? And some people don't get along and they're married in the same household. Oh, man, that's ugly right there. I don't know how individuals do that for the most part. Just angry at each other every day. They can love each other. They can love each other, but not like each other. You know what I mean? It's a big difference right there, for sure. But that's crazy for a man to have to go get a firearm, right? When his baby mother is there. That part I don't get. You know what I mean? I really don't understand that. The part of getting a firearm, for the most part. Leo says, but when guns are involved, it can become deadly, especially using cursing words with it. He said alcoholics, I guess you meant alcohol, was involved. Alcohol. Now, if you see that his mother of his kids was drunk, or whoever was in there was drunk, and she was taking your kids, fella, call the police. Simple as that. It don't make you soft for calling law enforcement, whatnot, because you don't want to get yourself in a situation like you're in right now. You know what I mean? Mr. Ray J. And Ray J brother used to, I forgot his brother name, C-Dub or something like that. You know what I mean? He has a brother who used to come on the other channel and whatnot. Used to hang with St. Louis. You know, there's some people crazy out here. Crazy. Birds of a feather flock together. You know? What's up to Eddie Johnson? Shout out to you. You says, what's going on with you, brother? I'm cooling. What's up to Victory? Shout out to you. Sion, Patrick T, Barbara Mosley. Victory says, I think men pulling gun on women is cowardly. Unless she's threatening with a weapon also. Wow, that's a tough situation right there. Very, very tough. You understand? We just had a conversation about firearms the other day and whatnot. That's tough right there. That is tough, you know, but it happens. Mr. Patrick T says, you crispy. What do you mean by that? You know what I mean? I don't know what you mean by that. I don't want to misunderstand you or anything like that. What do you mean by crispy? You understand? What's up to David B? Sion says people should stay away from crazy baby mamas or daddies. Well, I mean, you got no choice. You got kids by them, so you got to see each other at one point unless you're exchanging at the police station. If it got to boil down to as though both of y'all is angry at each other and a physical altercation may happen, you may have to do the exchange at a police station. Listen, I've been through it all in my younger years and whatnot. So whatever they went through, listen, I almost been through something similar to that. You know what I mean? You may have to exchange the kids at the police station. At the police station. Not outside, but inside of the police station. That's how bad it can get. You know? All right? Sion said, excuse me, I read that. Corey Finney says, I've seen her get crazy with him, and he flinched as if she had him scared. Jan says, I heard both sides, and Princess and her boyfriend were supposedly drunk, trying to take Ray J's kids out of the bed. Princess and her boyfriend. Wow, the mother of your kids bring her boyfriend to your house and come inside, if that's the case. You know what I mean? Yeah, I can see where as though, the firearm may have gotten involved with Mr. Ray J and whatnot. All right? Corey Finney says, and she or him has respect for the other. You wrote. Digital Masterpiece says, some men love them crazy women. You're right. Some of them do. They love toxic women. Scratch the key their cars up. You know? Flatten their tires. Throw a brick in the front window. I think, too, when I came to Charlotte and whatnot, in this area, there was a young fella downstairs. He had a nice car. And then one morning I came out, it was a brick through his front window. You know what I mean? And you know I thought about it. It had to have been some woman. It had to have been some woman. Ain't nobody who got ain't no man who got a situation with you gonna pull a brick through your window. Women do certain things like that. Brick through your front window, key your car, put sugar in your gas tank. You understand? Come to your job. They do certain things like that. You understand? They ain't gonna come up to you and say, "Oh, What's popping? They ain't gonna do that. If you got a situation out there with somebody in the street, they ain't gonna do that. You know? They gonna put a brick through your front window. The front one, not the back mostly, but the front. And he had a nice car. You, you know? Imagine that. You know what I mean? That's a sign of a crazy woman right there. But like you said, at Digital Masterpiece, some men, they love crazy women. They love that toxic behavior. They love it. They love all the yelling, the cursing, the hitting, the fighting. They love all that. Like, what is that? Jody and Yvette off of Baby Boy. They like that type of stuff. You know what I mean? They get a thrill off of that type of stuff, and whatnot. You also stated that no need to know how to handle a woman when she's drunk. Excuse me, said need to know how to handle a woman when she's drunk. I doubt if his life was in danger, them guns be giving people's confidence. SMH. Oh, you said crispy haircut. Oh, okay. All right, that's what that meant. All right, I got you. All right. Okay, cool at Paris. Thanks a lot. Jan says I do celebrate on the daily. You said right if the kids were by him, why did she try to take them? Ain't that something? Span says I never should have did that. You said that song didn't age well. What song? What song is that? Unless I missed the a comment. Paris says there is not a level a woman won't stoop to when she's angry. You're right about that. You could be dealing with a nice woman, but if you get her angry, and whatnot, man, you understand? Especially, I don't condone if you cheat on her. Ain't that something? And she find out with evidence, and she asks you, listen, you did such and such, who is such and such, such and such. You know what I mean? I'm speaking from somewhat of experience when I was younger. Man. You want you know? That's why I say shout out to the stalkers out there sometimes. You know what I mean? Because some women still hold grudges from years ago. Years ago. Whether I'm 41 now, if I did something when I was 16, some of them still holding grudges to this day. You know what I mean? Here it is, I was 15, 14. I think I was 14 or 13 at one time. And I did something and whatnot. And years later, in my older ages, like right now, still bringing it up. You know what I mean? If you go back to the hood and stuff like that and you see them, still bring it up. You know what I mean? That's 25, 30 years ago. You know? So some women will hold grudges forever. You know what I mean? Is that you? Huh? Is that you? You understand? All right? Span says tacos or no tacos, toxic behavior. I'm good. Holding grudges. That's crazy right there, man. You know what I mean? Listen, a man can change throughout the years and stuff like that. Even if you cheated or did something wrong and a woman forgave you and y'all got back together, whatever the case may be, they still bring it up. They still remind you. Sometimes every day. Sometimes every day they remind you. You know what I mean? That's how a lot of women are. Yeah, she'll forgive you. Y'all work on things and stuff like that. But throughout that whole year, she'll remind you. Doesn't matter what y'all talking about. Especially if she had a bad day at work or something like that. She'll bring it up to you. You know what I mean? She'll bring it up to you. Even if it's something on TV that could trigger her. Or something that's on social media that she's watching. If it trigger her, guess what? She's going to find a way to bring it up to you. You understand? To you. Especially, fella, if you behind the screen right now, if you're with your woman, if you cheated on her, or whatever the case may be, y'all still together, I can almost guarantee she still bring it up. Whether it's directly or indirectly to you. You understand? All right. Corey Finney says, my uncle had a guy key his truck over a woman, so men do women behavior as well. A man keying a man car over a woman. That's crazy. Is it that serious? You know what I mean? The ocean that serious? Wow. You know, some men, some men out here are crazy over that ocean. That ocean got them hooked. You know what I mean? It's the power of the ocean. I know Charlemagne the devil say something different. But some men out there, man, they crazy over that ocean. You know what I mean? They will unalive somebody over that ocean. You understand? It's real out here. Even folks in the church. Nobody's exempt. Nobody. You may have made a mistake and did something with a woman in the church and whatnot. Now you're whipped. Now you know what it feels like. Some know what it tastes like. Huh? Yeah, is that you? Huh? Some know what it feel like and taste like. Now she said, listen, man, I want to do things right. I want to wait till we get married and stuff like that. And she found interest in another man. Wow. That's rough right there for you, fella. You understand? So some will go crazy. Some will go crazy over the ocean. You understand? What's up to sh0t? Shout out to you. Digital Masterpiece says, not picking up my kid and driving drunk. Call the cops, protect yourself and kids. Absolutely. What's up to man Zena? Is that how you pronounce your name? He says, I've seen men with too much estrogen do the same thing, throwing bricks, putting tires on flat. So don't blame it all on women. I do blame it a majority on women. You understand? I do. That's women behavior right there. Simple. I'm talking about the behavior. Simple as that. And the common things women do when they get upset, especially if a man cheats. Simple. That's what I'm talking about. The common thing that a lot of women do is throw a brick through the front window or put sugar in a gas tank. That's commonly. Simple as that. Just like it's common for a lot of women out here to cheat, right? For emotional reasons. Now, some men may do it, but it's more common for a woman to do it for emotional reasons. You understand? So majority of women have that type of behavior at man Zini or something like that. All right? Corey Finney says, I've been through situations with my son's mom and had the cops called. All right? What are you talking about at Patrick T? Vivica Fox. I'm lost. When does Vivica Fox come in at this? Somebody please help me. Vivica Fox. What does she have to do with this? Sandra Brown says, I know exactly what you mean. My mother's just like, you said, my mother's just like it, and it's sad. I guess you meant like that. David B said, it may be best to remain single. I mean, hey, for some people, it is what it is. All right? Paris says, a woman will forgive you, but she won't forget. She's going to get you back. Lorenzo says, Tony's... We said I'm extra funny today. Maybe because I had a lot of rest yesterday. You know what I mean? Being lazy. John Doe says, if a woman says she forgives you, but still brings it up, she hasn't really forgiven you. What's up to Jules? Sandra Brown says, my mom's still mad at people that has already passed away. Oh, wow. Christmas Band says, women would bring up something that happened at Mickey D's in 2005. Wow. Sandra Brown says, they think that if they hold on to their grudge, that's part of their power and think that it's hurting you. Christmas Band says, that ocean will drown you. You better suit up. Absolutely. Ain't that something? Matthew, what up? You said, just like Javante Davis can't leave them crazy women alone. He's another one in the news dealing with those type of women. He's another one. You know what I mean? Seemed to have domestic violent cases within himself and whatnot, putting his hands on women. He says he stay in jail. He just cost him $180 million bag with Jake Paul. He allowed women to be his downfall. $180 million lost because he want to deal with crazy women, and whatnot. Yeah, it's not his first rodeo, not his first time. Tank Davis, and whatnot. You know what I mean? Listen, women like that will get you in trouble. They will get you in trouble. You understand? All right. David B says, not me. I would say peace out. For sure. All right. Patrick T says, walk away from swimming. A city pool is less dangerous than the ocean and just as good for swimming. I don't get that analogy. What do you mean by that? Let me know, what do you mean by that at Patrick T? Walk away from swimming. A city pool is less dangerous than an ocean. Now, I take that as you're talking about a prostitute or something like that. That's how I take it. You listen, I give you about $25 to do this and do that and go about my business. Are you talking about a prostitute? Huh? At Patrick T? You know? Because I wasn't talking about actual swimming now. You understand? I wasn't talking about that for sure. John Doe says a lot of us have fallen into the deep end of that ocean. Absolutely. All right. Sandra Brown said, y'all remember when Left Eye burned down the football player's mansion? Andre Rison. You know, he was dealing with a lot of women and stuff like that. Listen, you're a football player. What you expect? What you expect? You know what I mean? You become a football player, you in the NFL, all these groupies at your hotel and stuff like that. You're young and whatnot, out of control. You know what I mean? I don't think it's wise. If you know you're going to be like that, why be in a relationship? Just like Deion Sanders and his documentary and whatnot. To his first wife. It was cool in the beginning. But once she became prime time and started traveling and partying, being around MC Hammer and whatnot, and things like that, all the women gonna come next to you in that type of environment of Hollywood and whatnot. Women who just want to be next to you and willing to give it up just like that. Especially if you was Deion Sanders back then. You know what I mean? You think a Deion Sanders back then or Andre Rison back then or Michael Jordan back then or Magic Johnson back then, even athletes in these days, you think a high percentage of them could be faithful if they get married? No. No way. You know what I mean? I don't know how AC Green did it. If he was telling the truth that he was a virgin until he got married in his 40s or whatever the case may be. If AC Green did it, as far as like being a virgin, physically, mentally, emotionally, or whatever way to be a virgin, I don't know how he did it. If he did it, I commend him, especially being in the NBA like that. AC Green. All right? David B says, I'm so glad that I can no longer see that guy's comments. All right, Patrick T says, Vivica Fox earlier, we're talking about people that can't give up the past. She can't give up 50 Cent. I don't know. I haven't heard anything from her. Not that I was looking, in reference to Vivica Fox. All right, Christopher Span says, be careful with insurance policies, especially if you're not married. Tell them nothing, and if you are married, I pray it's the right one. Absolutely. Definitely agree with that one. All right. Leo says, I know this is not the subject. How close are you to Gino? And have you been to his church? You must be new or something like that. So to the new people, I don't mind answering questions like that. Because you may be curious to know, how close am I? What do you mean? Like we best friends, like we grew up together or something like that? I mean, we cool. Even Gino say him and Williams, they grew up together, but never get too close to a brother or sister. You understand? You might build a brotherhood or anything like that, or whatever the case may be. But we cool. I'm gonna keep it just like that. Cool. And he says, have you been to his church? Yes. You know what I mean? For about 8, 9 years. Baltimore Temple, Bronx Temple, Philly Temple. What else? Greensboro, Vineland, New Jersey. You know what I mean? So I dib and dabble to various places, but the main temple was Philly when I was in Jersey. You know what I mean? That was the main temple. You know, shout out to the brothers and sisters at the Philly Temple and those at other temples across the world and whatnot. You know, what's up to John Marcus? Shout out to you. I'm all good. Patrick T says, if Left Eye would have burned down my mansion, I would have told her, let's stay together. The insurance would pay for it. I wouldn't care one bit. Yeah, okay. Sure, you're right. What's up to Cali Boy, a.k.a. Prodigal Son? Shout out to you. What's up to Shannon? Shout out to you. We also got another news story that we put in the thumbnail. 2 U.S. soldiers were shot out there in Washington, D.C. D.C. Whether it's the hood or whether it's by the White House, D.C., if you haven't been to D.C. and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Be careful out there. Be careful in D.C. You understand? Because it goes down out there. So if you search the news and stuff like that about the 2 U.S. soldiers, I believe one of them passed away. One of them passed away, I think. David B says, never get too close to anyone unless you're married. Even then, keep a distance between them and God. For sure. That I agree with. You know what I mean? That I agree with in general. Tyrone T. What are you talking about? Rob Bass. All right? Span said it goes down. Absolutely. Span says your chat keeps skipping and twirling over this way. Is anyone else having this problem? I don't know what you mean by that. What do you mean by that at Charlotte Inn? Let me know. All right. David B said the girl was 20. Absolutely. For sure. As we go to the news story at hand and whatnot. So, as you stated at David B, one of them was 20 years of age. 20 years of age. Barbara Moley says, I was a weekend party woman. Cali Boy 78 says, never get too close to even your spouse. If you have one, Sandra Brown said, do you remember the movie The Burning Bed with Farrah Fawcett? You're talking to Patrick T. Oh, wow. So David B, as you stated, the young girl, the U.S. soldier, was 20 years of age, of the National Guard, and whatnot. And in the news, they said the 24-year-old Andrew Wolf is fighting for his life. They both were shot at close range. They both were shot at close range by somebody who is from Afghanistan. A 29-year-old from Afghanistan shot 2 soldiers in D.C. I don't know how to pronounce this individual name or whatever the case may be, but that's the news story at hand. He said it was a premeditated murder. There was an ambush with a gun toward people who didn't know what was coming. And that is the homicide. And that is the murder that we are looking at right now. Somebody wrote, it said the 2 soldiers who were attacked have been deployed to America capital as part of Trump administration's efforts to crack down on what it sees as rampant crime in several U.S. cities. Wow. Somebody from Afghanistan. Ain't that something? All right, Patrick T says, if you haven't been to D.C., don't go. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that too much, but it's some sights to see. Some, but you gotta still be careful out there. You still gotta be careful. You know, some people like to sightsee, some people like to be a tourist in certain areas. If you're gonna go to DC, make sure the areas you know about these areas. Do your research. Do your research. You understand? Listen, just visit by the White House. You know what I mean? Visit the area by where Martin Luther King was. You know what I mean? Stay in that area. Don't try to go to the hoods and stuff like that. Don't do it. Don't worry about. I wonder where Wayne Perry used to stay. I wonder where Wayne Perry hood is at. Don't do it. I wonder where Al Poe used to sling drugs at. Don't do it. You know what I mean? If you don't know nobody in those areas, stay out of it. You know what I mean? Don't worry. No need to worry about Wayne Perry's, you know, where he used to be. Don't do it. You know? All right? Tyrone says, you're all right with me, even though I don't agree 100%. What are you talking about? You don't agree 100% to what? I don't get it. What don't you agree with? I don't preach. So what you talking about? You know? I don't know. Cynthia Davenport, shout out to you. Robin Harris, shout out to you. Sandra Brown said, yeah, because he said he wouldn't care a bit as she burned down his mansion. The next time she's going to burn it down with him in it. Well, that's crazy. What's up to V. Davis? David B says, I've been to D.C. It's nice out there. Stay away from the hood. That's all. Absolutely. Don't go worrying about, man, I want to try this food spot in the hood. Stay away from there. Stay far away. All right. What up to Mark Zion? Sandra Brown says, crazy people don't do nothing but get crazier. Absolutely. All right. What is that? Theo99 says, if you ran over a small goblin, what are you talking about? Man, some people be asking some crazy questions, I tell you. Sion says, my baby's father and amazing. I don't get that. You know what I mean? I don't know what's wrong with some people on here who come on YouTube or whatever the case may be. I don't know. You understand? I really don't know at all. Let me know what you're referring to for sure. You know what I mean? All right. Charlotte Ann says the twirling has stopped. Not a problem. I didn't know what you were referring to. All right. ZY says, can you say happy birthday to my friend Nick? For what? You know what I mean? For what? For what? You know? I mean, if that's a true statement, then much power and respect to him as far as like another year here on this earth. You know, much prayers and blessings. All right. Jonna, you said, what's the gospel? Me and Tony go way back. I don't know you. I don't know you. Don't lie to these people talking about we go way back. I don't know you. You know what I mean? I've never seen that name in my life. Unless you're from Jersey City, New Jersey, or whatever the case may be, Bayonne, New Jersey, Newark, New Jersey. You know what I mean? Or in that area. Let me know what's your real name. And where do you know me from? You understand? But that name, Jonna, I don't know you. You understand? Unless you was under a different name and whatnot, you can enlighten me upon who you are for the most part. But according to your name, that statement that you made, me and Tony go way back, is not true. Unless you had a different name and whatnot. All right? What's up to Suzanne Miller? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Hope all is well. Theo99, you a fool. You are a fool. I don't know what you're referring to. I'm not going to feed into that stupid statement that you're making. You know what I mean? David B says, psych ward, please. A lot of them. And whatnot. We sit here talking about crazy women and shots going off in D.C., and they want to talk about goblins and whatnot. You know what I mean? Some type of character. I guess that came out a while ago, for the most part. You know what I mean? As we talked about the story about crazy women. And then you got crazy people that just want to shoot people for no reason. You know what I mean? Just like the Charlie Kirk situation. Just because somebody don't like what a person or people stand for, that don't make it right for you to go out there and try to unalive them. That don't make it right. At all. I'm pretty sure the false prophets out there, you know what I mean? And their members. Listen, I don't like what they stand for at all. But I ain't gonna waste my time and do the do on them. I ain't gonna do that. You understand? Do I think some of them deserve a sh0t? Yeah, I do. I do. A big time sh0t. You know what I mean? But guess what? We don't condone violence or anything like that. That's their opinion at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Folks don't like you. Folks may not like you over the internet. They don't know you from a can of paint, but they don't like you at all. You know what I mean? Senator Brown said, he's a liar in my Geno Jennings voice. Got that right. All right. Theo says, I will refrain from further goblin-related comments. Well, hey, you said sorry, you're forgiven, or whatever the case may be. But I don't know what you're really talking about or what you're really trying to get into, or whatever the case may be. All right? We're not here talking about, you really going to answer that. You're really going to answer that, Patrick T. You're really going to answer that for what? You know what I mean? We're sitting here talking about some news stories or whatever's going on in the news and things of that nature. And whatnot. There's a lot of things that's happening in this world. A lot of things that's going on. Like the situation in Hong Kong. The fire. Somebody told me about the fire in Hong Kong. Now, if you've seen the documentary in those type of areas in Japan, Hong Kong, the Philippines, their apartment buildings is very different. Very, very different. They live in tight spaces over there in them places. You know what I mean? It's not really like over here where as though we got a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 900 feet, 1,000 feet and stuff like that. No, they live in tight areas over there. Check out the documentary on YouTube. You can see how these people live and whatnot. You understand? A very, very tight area. You know what I mean? It's almost like they're in like a horizontal closet or something like that. You know what I mean? That's how tight and crazy that they live. You know what I mean? They don't have a bedroom or dressers and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Or anything of that nature. The documentary I saw, how them folks over there live. You know what I mean? So compared to how we live over here, and we sit here complaining about, man, rent too high, mortgage too high, and things of that nature. Them people live in a very, 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 very tight area. You know what I mean? Very, very tight area. And, you know, a lot of people was unalived in those fires and stuff like that. I think they arrested a couple of people for that situation. Shannon says them buildings were totally lit up. Absolutely. All right. Barbara Moses says, again, I truly appreciate, I guess you're referring to me, appreciate that. At Barbara Mosley, Cali Boy 78 says, too much information isn't good for your mental health. What do you mean by that? David B said, there's a lot of weird people in this world. I agree. A lot of them. Whether it's on social media, especially on social media. Especially because people can make a fake name, everything. You know what I mean? And start writing crazy stuff. And nobody really would know who they are unless you get the Geek Squad to run their IP address and really find out who they are, or private investigator and stuff like that, if you really want to go that deep. But there's a lot of weird people over the internet, at work, outside, school, in churches, in the pulpit. There's a lot of weird people out there. A whole lot. You know what I mean? What's up to Skip Bayless? No, I don't. Where you get that from? You know what I mean? People got all types of things that they say who I look like. Lloyd Banks, Charleston White, Ludacris. Now you're saying Jalen Hurts. I don't look like them fellas. You know what I mean? I look like me. You know? I look like me. You got some people that say, oh, you look like Geno Jennings. What? I look like me. You understand? Jalen Hurts. Where you get that from? Negative. Cali Boy says, I'm from Philippines. It's rough in certain parts if you aren't a celebrity. Wow. You also stated that Shaq's right outside the airport. Let me see. Skip Billy says Charleston White. You said that's a better one. Charleston White. Wow. Really? Charleston White? Wow. Oh, man. That's bad. I'd say that's bad right there. I sure don't act like him. If that's the case, no way. You know? Holding this 504. He said, bro, said Lloyd Banks. Oh, yeah, I hear a lot, man. I used to hear Lloyd Banks and Ludacris a lot, especially when I had my braids when I was younger. Ah, man. Why do these folks keep saying I look like these people? You know? All right? You said Charleston. You a dude and you calling Charleston White attractive? I don't know about that, man. You understand? I don't know about that, fella. Because I ain't going to say the H word. I'm just going to say attractive. You know what I mean? I'm being careful. You know? Y'all funny, though. We 47 minutes in. He said Charleston White is handsome and you a dude. Wow. Wow. You said Charleston White. You called Charleston White. Now you may be a woman with that type of name. I don't know. I don't know who you are, what you are, whatever the case may be. You might be an AI, for all I know. I wouldn't be surprised if they got AI, people on people's YouTube channels typing. I wouldn't be surprised. You know what I mean? You never know. You never know. Some of these folks who come on here and they click through the people's lives and stuff like that, it might be bots or AIs or whatever the case may be. You never know. All right? Skip Billy says, handsome, not attractive. What? What's the difference? What's the difference? Let me know. What's the difference between calling somebody handsome and calling somebody attractive? What is the difference? To me, it's the same. If I say this woman over here is beautiful, man, she's attractive. Ain't no huge difference. Get out of here. No, it ain't. No, it's not. You know? Sandra Brown says, same way, you got to be careful with your words. You got to be careful what you LOL at too. Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. I definitely agree with that. David Sykes says, do you know William Marion Branham? Is that the preacher? William Branham? Let me type that in right quick. Oh, that's the preacher. William Branham. I've heard of him. Gino spoke about him a little bit. And whatnot. What about William Branham? What about him? You understand it? Is that somebody you follow, or is that somebody you know what I mean, you tune into? Sandra Brown says, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. That sounds like a scripture. That sounds like a scripture for sure. David Sight says, Mackay for the messenger of God. What? What are you talking about? I mean, if you follow William Branham, then hey, that's on you. All right? David B says, I think that he's in a crisis grave. I've heard Gino talk about him. Gino said he spoke some truth. Some. William Branham. And whatnot. Let me see if I can find that right quick. You know, being that we at the concluding stages. I think it's from an older program. I'm thinking in the 700s, and whatnot, that he talked about William Branham. Let's just see if we can find it right fast, right quick. I mean, I'm glad you brought that up about William Branham. What program was that? Man, you're gonna make me go deep in my notes. And whatnot. Deep in the notes. Is that program 745? 745 is coming to my mind right now. Yep. Absolutely. 745. Triple God program 745. Let's go to it right quick. Timestamp 157.47. Timestamp 157.47. We gotta remember that. Timestamp 157.47. Program 745. Let's see if it's still up here. It is. 157.47. All right. Who that?
You're like the vision they have, you have. That's right. What they see, you will see. Amen. What they understand, we have in the same spirit. It is written, we have in the same spirit. That's right. Of faith. Faith. Now, if you fellas have the same spirit, please tell me, you that talk about William Branham. That's right. Branhamite. Supposed to have been this great apostle. That's right. Supposed to have been the seventh angel. And was a bigot. My Lord. Whoever heard of God sending a bigot? Whoever heard of that? That's right. He said it's a sin. Oh my God. For a white woman to marry a black man. He used the term colored. Colored. Amen. It's a bigot. It's a bigot. My Lord. Turn the sin for a white woman to marry a colored man. Colored. That's right. He said it's a sin to mix race. And he compared mixing race to the mixing of beasts. Way off. Way off. Hey, he was in pure white. William Branham was a product of a black man. That black man was Adam. Amen. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. Go ahead. Talk to me. Amen. Go ahead. Every color on the planet. Go ahead, brother. I'm from the first man walked earth. That's right. He was an African man. An African man. That's scriptural law. That's right. Eve, an African woman. That's right. Is the mother of all living. Amen.
So you brought up William Branham. William Branham. Is that true that he don't believe that a white woman should marry a black man? Let me know. So I'm going to try to type that in. Interracial marriage with William Branham. See if anything pops up. Okay. Let me know what you think about that to the person who brought it up and whatnot. We got a couple more minutes left. Couple of more minutes left before we knock off. In general. All right, Cowboy 78 says white woman, us back on the plantation. I don't know nothing about that one. Haven't heard that one. Not saying it's not true. All right. Let me see where we at. Mark Zion, you retracted a message. David Sites says William Branham, search him. He also teach about the Bible. The angel appeared to him. The angel appeared to him? Wow. All right. Cowboy 78 said it's on YouTube. All right. What's up, the Fatal Silence? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. So they brought up William Branham. They brought up Charleston White, Jalen Hurts, Vivica Fox, and all these other individuals out here. Very interesting. And whatnot. You understand? We got a couple more minutes left. If you got any other news details and stuff like that that y'all want to talk about and whatnot, let us know. Let us know in general. Is there anything else y'all wanna talk about? David B says, of course they did. The men and women took advantage of their slaves. Now we're talking about slavery. Wow. All right, what's up, the Bible Truth? Shout out to you. He says, God bless Tony in the chat. Right back at you. As I'm watching the chat, people talking about slavery now. What's up to Robin Harris says, yeah, I believe it. Okay. Okay, not a problem. What's up to Sion? Sandra Brown says, I seen it on YouTube. Well, I mean, if that's the case, hey, you know what I mean? This guy said the white woman raped the men. Wow, that's going to start something, man. You're going to start something, prodigal son. And whatnot. All right. So with an individual who followed William Branham, I asked you a question. I said, is it true that William Branham believed that? According to what you have heard. You understand? Bible Truth says, Bible Truth is me, Mr. Ham. Mr. Ham. Mr. Ham. What up, Mr. Ham? Bible Truth. Mr. Ham. Mr. Ham is Bible Truth. Wow. It's a good name. You know? All right. Brother S says, greetings. Tony, everyone in chat. Hope everyone is doing well. Absolutely. Sandra Brown says, all of them are Skittles except Charleston White. I didn't know Vivica Fox was a Skittle. I didn't know that. What's up to Anthony Nelson? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. This always happens. We're talking about, news stories and stuff like that. I just be wanting to have regular conversation. You understand? When you come on my Facebook, I like to have regular conversation. You understand? That's, I'm going to read this comment from Troy Adams. You asked me a question about sh0t, and he's probably watching in the background. He said, why is he talking about he's a student of Geno? Why are you asking me? Why you ask him? You know what I mean? You got to ask sh0t. I have nothing to speak about that. Everybody's their own man. Everybody's their own woman. Whatever the case may be. So if anybody has a question about me, I prefer them to come to me to ask me. You understand? If anybody have a question about this person over here, and they have a social media that you can easily contact them, just contact them. You know what I mean? I can't answer for that man. You know what I mean? I can't do that. You know what I mean? So if you have a question for sh0t, I'm pretty sure he got his contact information on his YouTube, his Facebook, email, whatever the case may be, comment section, you know. But hey, I can only speak for me. You know what I mean? I can't speak for another man. Just like when people come in here and ask me questions about Gino. How is he doing? What does he like to eat? You know? Does he like to play basketball? You asking me for? This is the type of questions that people ask me. I can't answer questions like that. That requires them answering the question themselves, for the most part. You know? Hopefully that answers your question. You said, who's sh0t? Here's another YouTuber that puts up Gino. Brother S said, just got to work, starting my shift in a couple of minutes. Happy that I can join the live. All I'm going to say is this. I like to stay out the way. That's me. I like to stay out the way and just, hey, do what I do. Continue on doing what I'm doing since day one. That's me. You know what I mean? Since day one, continuing the same process. You know what I mean? The same process since day one. Putting out the messages, whether it's on my other YouTube channel, Facebook now, TikTok. You know what I mean? I like to stay out the way. You know, I don't even like to talk about false prophets. Whatever they got going on, and this false prophet from, I don't know, he's from Louisiana or Mississippi, popping up on YouTube. I could talk about it, but I don't want to talk about these fellas. You know what I mean? I don't want to talk about really nobody in general. As far as like, you know, the question that you asked, which I think that should be addressed to that person that you want the answer to. You know what I mean? And those who speak about, you spoke about Mr. Robinson and whatnot. I don't even want to talk about that false prophet. You know what I mean? That's what them false prophets want. They want the YouTubers to talk about them for attention. You know what I mean? They want clout and things of that nature. You know, only a YouTuber knows their angle and how they want to operate their channel. You know what I mean? So you may think this person is doing this for this reason, but they may not be. Every YouTuber has a different goal, a different mission, and a different angle, how they utilize their YouTube channel, and whatnot. You understand? So you're on the outside looking in, but you don't know this YouTuber's mindset on how he want to do his YouTube channel, or how this woman want to do her YouTube channel, and whatnot. You know what I mean? If a person got a YouTube channel and they decide to talk about whatever, I mean, hey, that's their business. You know what I mean? That's what they're going to do, and whatnot. It's nothing I could do. You understand? It's nothing I could say, or whatever the case may be. I mean, hey, if that's the opinion of some people that this YouTuber is doing this or doing that, then hey, you know what I mean? That's their opinion. You can't please everybody. I got that quote up on Facebook. I said you can't please everybody. You can't. Not at all. It doesn't matter how much good you're doing, how positive you are. You can't please everybody. Not one bit. At all. All right. All right. Anyway, shout out to sh0t, shout out to everybody doing YouTube and putting out the message and talking about the message, whether it's Mr. Ham, Bible Truth, sh0t, an encouraging word, Mr. Dunbar, TNT, EFP Media, Jude and Perdido was another one that I spoke to yesterday. I forgot the person's name. Who was this person? Let me see, show message. Be humble or something like that. Be woke in Christ or something. So there's a lot of YouTubers out there that's putting out the truth of God and whatnot. Shout out to them if they are very sincere about the message. For the most part. Does everybody agree with the message that they put out? My answer probably, in my opinion, I don't think so. You understand? Some people put it out just for popularity purposes and whatnot. Some may agree. The majority of the things, for the most part, maybe some things it's hard to come up to. General, but shout out to them people who are sincere about putting out the message or talking about it or whatever the case may be. But me personally, I like to stay out the way. You know what I mean? I just like to stay far out the way. Far out the way. You know what I mean? Far out the way. You know? All right? David B says, from Mississippi, Fayette. I don't even want to say that false prophet name. The false prophet, I see he mentioned my name. For what? My man, you got booted years ago. Why all of a sudden you mentioning me for? You know what I mean? I don't know. I have no idea. You know, I could have made a video about the guy. I could have. We could have made a splice video of him talking about how he said that he wanted to change Gino. And Mr. Such and Such from Alabama took the video down. But I happened to download that video before. You know what I mean? I still got it. We could make videos like that. But I choose not to. I don't want to give these individuals no type of attention, no type of promotion, or anything like that. You know what I mean? They're just looking for more subscribers when they talk about Geno Jennings. You understand? But of course, if you're putting out the message on your YouTube channel, sincerely, of course, people are going to come to it and whatnot. But these false prophets, they need to talk about, you know, people in the truth of God in order to get subscribers. That's what they need to do. You know what I mean? There's one false prophet out there. Talk about Geno, or two. Talk about Geno every day. Two false apostles. Every day they're talking about Geno in a negative manner almost. Two of them. You understand? Two of them. I was listening to Truth of God program 1847 today, I think. When Geno was talking about as a false prophet that he believed out of Charlotte. I know who he's talking about. Yeah, I mean, the false apostle. He said he didn't know who he was. So how can he steal his gospel? If somebody don't know you, how can they steal your gospel? You understand? So these men out here, they think Geno knows them. They think they do. Just like some people think I know them. I don't know you. You understand? I don't. So they could talk about me all they want. You could go to somebody's social media page and see some things. That don't mean you know them. But that's what these false prophets do. They go to people's social media, Facebooks and Instagrams and stuff like that, and go to your pictures. Look at your family. Look at your kids. Put your kids up. That's why I said earlier, some of them deserve a sh0t. You understand? Some of them. Some of them. You know, we don't condone violence though. You hear me? They want me to talk about them so bad. So bad. But I'm not going to waste my time on false prophets and whatnot. There's a bunch of things in this world that we could talk about, like with these news stories or certain topics that we talk about and have a conversation with. It's almost like they can't do that. It's almost like they cannot do that. Because really nobody won't listen to them unless they talk about Geno Jennings. It's not about popularity or anything like that. But look at when they do talk about something else. Hardly anybody is watching them. You understand? Here it is. That's why I encourage the brothers and sisters, when you have a YouTube channel, you know, there's other things like utilizing your skill, your talents, and stuff like that up. You know what I mean? Sometimes you gotta, you know, let the people get to know you a little bit, your personality and whatnot. Try to connect with the people for the most part. Remember, you got a platform. You can encourage the people for the most part if you got a platform. You know what I mean? These false prophets out there, who is they winning? You know what I mean? They call themselves apostles and pastors and stuff like that and whatnot. Hardly nobody's in their church. Nobody but their people. That's it, for the most part. So I don't worry about these individuals out there, false prophets from Mississippi or Jamaica, Canada and stuff like that. I don't worry about you. I'm pretty sure they got their members watching and low rot in the background or block or something like that. I don't worry about you at all. You understand? Let's go to the comments and whatnot. Sandra Brown says everybody got their own opinions. All right, understandable. Furious Styles. I got baptized thanks to the information you provided. So thank you, brother. Wonderful. That's good you got baptized. That's great to hear. You understand? And I'm all for encouraging the people out there, to get right and things of that nature. You understand? This is a short life that we have. You know what I mean? And I don't have time to play around. I don't have time to talk negative about other men all day. I can't sit down for 3 or 4 hours talking negative about men. I don't think that's manly. I really don't at all. Here it is if I have a wife at home. You know what I mean? I have a wife at home. I'm not going to be sitting down for 3 or 4 hours talking about another man. You know what I mean? My woman is going to be on my mind. Simple as that. You understand? I'm going to talk about a topic for an hour and a half. You understand? And it's time to get some snuggles. You hear me? But I won't be here talking about men for 3 or 4 hours at all. You hear me, false prophet? Is that you? Huh? Is that you? Suzanne Miller, appreciate that. All right. What's up to Loretta? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. What's up to bro SV? David B says, he says that clown calls Gino the big serpent and the small serpent. Yeah, they're just looking for attention. That's all they're doing, looking for attention and whatnot. All right. Appreciate that. That's Sandra Brown. Bible Truth says, you know what these haters like to do when it comes to First Church? Absolutely. Absolutely, man. It's something about them haters that they just can't get enough. All right. You're right about that, brother SV. David B says, Cox believes that PJ knows who he is. What a joke. And a lot of individuals think that. It's thousands of individuals going after PJ and people of the TOG. Thousands. And some of them think they're so important that individuals like PJ or Williams or anybody or Minister Aviles, they actually think they really, really pay attention to, want to know these individuals. Who has time to be focused on a Peter Cox? I mean, really. Who really has time? Anybody in here got time to be focused on somebody named Peter Cox? Huh? Let me know. Please let me know. Who has time to be focused on false prophets throughout their whole day? I mean, you're working a 10, 12-hour day. You got to come home and cook dinner, freshen up, probably work out. Some probably in school, online. Got to straighten up the house, do some work around the house and whatnot. Who has time for that? You got kids to deal with, helping with their homework. Who has time to think about you, false prophet? Let me know. Y'all do. I don't know where you get the time from, but y'all do. I don't have time for that. Even on my day off, I got 2 days off doing work around the place. I don't have time for false prophets. You understand? I'm sitting there unscrewing some things on the bunk bed. You think I'm thinking about false prophets? You understand? I ain't thinking about no false prophets at all. All right? Bro, SV said, it's like they want to bring out the old. He said, Jersey City fast hands. I don't think they want that. I don't think so. You know what I mean? Mr. What's that cat name? Tiggy. He got a kinfolk in Jersey City. Tiggy, where you at, Tiggy? You got kinfolk in Jersey City, right? It's a small world out here. Small world. You know what I mean? I don't say nothing. But Tiggy, you roll with that false prophet who talked about people's family members and whatnot. That's good you got away from that. I give you that, Tiggy. You got away from the false prophet in Canada. I give you that credit. I give you that. It took for you to get beat down with Bible to get rid of or get away from that false prophet in Canada. It took that. It took a beat down for Tiggy to get away from that. You don't hear from Tiggy no more. That's what happens. You get beat down so bad. He don't come on here no more, to my knowledge. I haven't seen Tiggy on here since that beat down, that night. Wow. You understand? You know, beat down. All right. Brother SV says God is not with them, so nothing they do will be prosper. Y'all done got me going. I was supposed to get off here within an hour. We 16 minutes over. Brother S says they are on the losing side. It seems like they are accomplishing something from what they are doing. What they're doing is void, for sure. All right. Yo, y'all is funny on here, man. I just wanted to talk about the Ray J story. The soldiers got shot in the story in Hong Kong. Man, I see y'all got a lot on your chest with other stuff. Brother Ed says, as PJ said, when these false prophets talk about him, they are doing good for the TOG. I believe a lot of people are coming to TOG by listening to the false prophet. All right. Let me see. All right, it's time to go. If they got any last closing remarks, feel free to leave it in the chat room so we can knock off. Lord willing, I don't know. I may come on later. We'll see. Today's Friday, but I may have work tomorrow. But for the most part, we're going to knock off. We're going to conclude. Oh, man. Now I'm about to get off here. Now, Mr. Smallwood. Right when I'm about to get off, Thomas Smallwood comes on here. Out of all people, Thomas Smallwood, the one who got beat down years ago, the Muslim from Philadelphia. You know what I mean? Hey, Mr. Smallwood, why don't you tell the people how you was trying to curse me out over the phone, huh? Over the text message. Tell the people that. Tell the people that, Mr. Smallwood, last year. Man, he was cursing me out, making threats and stuff like that. Mr. Smallwood, tell the people that. Huh? Don't come on here saying that. Ah, man, this man like 70 years old making threats. Wow. And you're a Muslim? Let me see what they wrote. SV says, from the discussion from yesterday, another interesting topic is New Year's Eve and New Year's Day considered a pagan holiday. That's a good one. What are you talking about? Color enhancement. He said color enhancement. Wow. I use color enhancement? Wow. There's no blackness on my nails or anything. Where you see color enhancement at? And I'm scratching. You see any black on my nails? What's wrong with these people? Color enhancement. Wow. We're trying to rip it off. You said that's begin, bro. I don't know what begin is, unless you're talking about Beijing. Wow. You said it stains the skin. It's not going to come off from scratching. I don't know that. You said you have more knowledge than me with that. I don't know nothing about no Beijing staining the skin. You understand? See, you know about that. I don't know about that. You know what I mean? Thanks for enlightening me about that. It stains the skin. Wow. Very interesting. Wow. Back to this topic. Oh, Thomas Smallwood. Why you not answering back, Smallwood? Huh? Tell the people that. Tell the people that, Smallwood. Jenny Fry says suspect in the Washington, D.C. shooting that critically injured 2 National Guards is now facing first-degree murder charge after one of the victims died from her, I guess you meant injuries. Yeah, that's a sad situation right there. That's a sad situation for sure. 20 years of age, young girl, in the National Guard. I believe she was from West Virginia, and whatnot. You know what I mean? It's a lot of crazies out here for sure. What's up to Roxanne? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. No, I'm not Muslim. What are you talking about? Where you get that from? You know what I mean? How you going to say I use Beijing to ask if I'm Muslim? I don't get that. Now, that's a weirdo right there. You just made an assumption about me using Beijing and then asked if I was Muslim. Now, that's just stupid right there for sure. You know? Where we at? All right, we're going to end this live. We had a very interesting conversation. Some labs in general. And Lord willing, I may be on later. Shout out to everybody out there. For the most part, I hope everybody have a wonderful day. Peaceful day. I know some of y'all probably got leftovers. You know what I'm saying? To enjoy. And whatnot. Renee Burton, shout out to you. You say you missed it. It's all good. You know what I'm saying? You can check out the replay. For the most part. You know, Lord willing, I'll probably come back on later, maybe on the second channel. And whatnot. But we shall see. I got to put some more videos out on the third channel. We got a lot of videos coming on that third channel. I think I'm up to 400 videos right now. So we still knocking those videos out on the third channel with the TOG for the most part. So God bless to everybody out there. I'm Tony Harvin of the Tony Harvin YouTube channel. I'm out. Peace.